Hello guys, and welcome back to the Thermal Mods series. In this episode we'll continue where we left off with the machines from thermal expansion. Pulverizer is the first we'll talk about. So what is it? In one word or one sentence, it breaks things. Wool into strings and you'll get bricks into sand and lots of other recipes, and with a big mod pack you will have plenty of recipes here. I would say that the most common way to use it is to process your ores into pulverized version, but you get double the outcome, and with the bonus that we get sometimes we get a bonus outcome. So in the redstone furnace that we covered last time, we had an augment called flux analyzer. This one will double your ore outcome, so that's pretty much the same. But with the pulverizer you might get an additional outcome. So as an example, I have a few things here. We have some ores and we have some other stuff. All of these can be broken in the pulverizer, and I set it to output the main output to the left and the secondary to the right. Alright, so we'll see if we get anything. So you can see you get double the gold and double the iron, and with any luck we end up with things here as well. But it's not guaranteed, it's like 10% or 20% or whatever. The recipe will show that, as you can see here. Okay, so that's okay, we got one niter bonus outcome, and that's from the sandstone, I would say. Yeah, sandstone, sand, and a 40% chance of getting niter, which can be used in other crafting recipes. Okay, so that's how you use it. Everything else is very much the same as we have covered before, so let's not go into the details. Just very quickly, the basic tier, 20 RF per tick, and a certain amount of energy stored and so on. No augments, like any other machine you've seen. Resonant gets the 60, you know, the upgrade steps, 30, 40, 50, and then 60 for the resonant. And then you get the 4 augments, exactly as we've seen before. So that's, I presume that you know that already. The in-out works the same. I covered this in the last episode. And then when it comes to the augments, this one can also run with the reception coils. That will just make it a lot faster. So from 60 to 300 with these 4. Okay, so let's go into the fun details now. The augments that makes the pulverizer a bit more interesting than just breaking things. So the first thing we'll look at is the Tectonic Initiator. So it looks like this, and the purpose of this is to increase the primary output. If you hold shift, increases yield from ores. However, we need something with it. So when you insert this Tectonic Initiator, you will also get this tank here. You see, if I remove it, right? And what do we put here? Well, we need to put something called Tectonic Petroleum. You make it in a magma crucible from petroleum dust, which comes from basalt's powder, which is one of the mobs added by thermal. I think it's the earth elemental or something like that. Okay, so you break down into dust and run it in a crucible. You get the petroleum, and let's turn it on like that, and then we can see that now it runs. And this should increase your primer output. We get 3 instead of 2, so that's a pretty big deal, especially if you're processing some rare ores, like, did I put it here? Nope. But a good example is platinum. or iridium. So these are hard to obtain, and it can be a good idea to have a special setup only for rare ores. Okay, so let's move on with the second augment for the pulverizer, well, except for the reception coil, of course. Auxiliary Sieve. This is pretty much the same thing, but it adds the increases chance of a secondary output. However, no need for additional fluids like we have here. But this stacks, that's the difference. So this one, let's see if we can demonstrate this by removing these, and we have nickel in here. If we let's see, if we process nickel, we have a 10% chance to get pulverized platinum. So that's a pretty good deal to perhaps have another setup. If you run your platinum in this one, in this setup, then you can run your nickel and some other things. Let's see, I'll show you how to get platinum. Well, platinum ores, of course, but you can also get it from iridium. So perhaps the iridium, depending on what you want. If you want the iridium more than the platinum, then you should run it in this one, and so on. So let's turn it on and see if we get anything. 10 of these normally will have a 10% chance, so in normal cases we should get 1 platinum out of this. And hopefully we'll get at least a little bit more. Okay, so it seems like from these 10 we got 4 platinum. I was expecting 1, but we have a few upgrades, so perhaps I guess an additional 10%. If I know the number, I'll write it in the video description. Okay, so the final augment for the pulverizer, nullification chamber. It's something you will not use together in these setups, because, especially not this one, because you want a secondary output. This one destroys the secondary output if the internal buffer is filled up. Okay, so let's turn these on. Here I just installed this, so yeah, I won't demonstrate it in this one, but here I have some normal stones that we pulverize into gravel. Secondary output, let's see, secondary output 50% chance on getting sand. Okay, so, and we don't want sand for some reason, so let's just fill this buffer and use this augment, and that will just delete the excess. Same thing in this one. Here we have all the gravel, and in this one I'm pulverizing gravel because that will give me flint, because I need that for some reason. And again, we get sand as a secondary output, and I don't want sand, so I put the nullification chamber here, and that will simply delete the excess sand. So we get 64 here. I'm not even outputting that, only the main slot is output, so we get lots of flint here. Alright, so I think that's pretty much what we'll cover in this video, a bit shorter than the previous one. And in the next episode, we'll cover the sawmill instead, and it's actually relative to the pulverizer, I would say. Alright, hope I see you then. Take care, and bye-bye.